Hi. Tourism is about getting outside of your usual environment. In most cases, this includes a long drive by car or a flight to your destination. You probably know the traffic jams on the French and German roads on the traditional Black Saturdays, or the great number of airplanes landing and taking off at large world airports such as London Heathrow, Frankfurt or Schiphol in Amsterdam. Then you won't be surprised to hear that travel to and from a destination accounts for 50 to 70% of carbon emissions during a holiday. Accommodation also has an impact, accounting for approximately 30% of total emissions. Your local activities, such as visiting cultural or natural sites, account for the rest of the pollution. But how much is this within the whole industry? Well, around the globe, tourism accounts for 5% of the total carbon emissions, they say. This is shocking if you consider how over the years the cost of air transport has dropped significantly. I can book a flight from Paris to the USA for as little as 70 euros. The price drops have resulted in more and more people going on a holiday by plane to a more distant destination. Such trends have caused emissions from tourism to increase even faster than international tourism arrivals. Some scholars argue that if this continues at such a pace, then only the tourism sector is expected to consume the entire planet's safe carbon budget within the next 40 years. However, as sustainability and reducing the carbon footprint are becoming higher on the international travel sector agenda, there are possibilities to make your holiday more sustainable on your own. It is now possible to compensate your carbon emissions by, for example, planting trees or allowing people in developing countries to use renewable forms of energy. There are organizations that calculate the amount of emissions you are responsible for on your flight and then work out how much is needed to compensate those carbon emissions. For a flight from Amsterdam to New York, for instance, I would need to offset nearly a ton of CO2. If I like to offset this through a company like Green Seats, I would have to pay around €9 to neutralize my behavior. These and other compensation schemes seem perfect as a solution to the problem. But is this really a solution? If we dig a little deeper, the idea has some downsides. First of all, it is not obligatory. Only the people who know the consequences of flying and have both the will and financial resource to compensate will do so. Another downside is that trees have to live and absorb carbon dioxide for a very long time before any compensation is actually achieved. This could mean that between 50 and 100 years, this is done. The possibility that within this time span your compensating trees are cut down for another purpose is unfortunately very realistic. The final downside is the location. Many companies plant trees in foreign countries. In the Netherlands, for example, there's not enough space. However, this planting of trees often goes along with driving away of people from their homeland. Are there perhaps better alternatives then for flying or driving to reach our destinations, you may ask? Is slowing down an option maybe? Going on a cycling holiday or traveling by train are probably more sustainable options. Or see if you could cut down on the number of your annual holidays and take a long one instead. You will end up reducing your CO2 emissions by simply traveling less. Nevertheless, having said this, people will probably keep going on holiday and will keep flying to the destination no matter what. Awareness may prove powerful when you see with your eyes that glaciers in the Alps are disappearing due to climate change. Such a sight may have a much larger impact on your travel habits than a report on the carbon emissions of your air transport. Or should we think instead of more legal measures that are non-voluntary? If neither the sector nor tourists can change their behavior in the long run, then maybe international agreements should become less voluntary than they are today.